Probably one of the most shocking things we heard is when they talked to an official in the White House, and they protected this person's identity, who said he overheard Secret Service agents on Vice President Mike Pence's details, literally phoning loved ones saying their last goodbyes.
Okay, that last entry in this page is service to the Capitol does not sound good right now.
Correct.
What does that mean?
The members of the VP detail at this time were starting to fear for their own lives. There was a lot of yelling, a lot of very personal calls over the radio. So it was disturbing. I don't like talking about it, but there were calls to say goodbye to family members, so on and so forth. It was getting, for whatever the reason was on the ground, the VP detail thought that this was about to get very ugly.
And did you hear that over the radio?
Correct.
Okay. What was the response by the agents, Secret Service agents who were there?
Everybody kept saying, at that point it was just reassurances, or I think there were discussions of reinforcements coming, but again, it was just chaos. It was just yelling.
Obviously, you conveyed the disturbing, but what prompted you to put it into an entry, as it states there, service to the Capitol?
If they're running out of options and they're getting nervous, it sounds like that we came very close to either service having to use lethal options or worse. Like at that point, I don't know. Is the VP compromised? Is the detail I don't know. Like, we didn't have visibility, but it doesn't. If they're screaming and saying things like say goodbye to the family, like, the floor needs to know this is going to a whole nother level soon.
One of the people who understands exactly what that fear was like is Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn. He was there. He was in the midst of the turmoil. So many Capitol Police officers were attacked viciously by those domestic terrorists, and these are the so-called law and order people who didn't give a damn about these Capitol Police officers. Harry, glad to have you join us on Roland Martin Unfiltered. You have been attending these hearings. You have been listening to what has unfolded. And how does it feel? I mean, here you were on this side of this day, in the midst of it, while it's unfolding. But how does it make you feel to find out what was happening, and the very people who were supposed to have y'all back were simply doing nothing? And Donald Trump was happy to see it. And not only that, now you have these people coming out and testifying, but in real time, they said nothing. They literally talked among themselves. And then some of them, when they left the White House, were thanking him for able to serve. But now, they have courage because now they're talking. But January 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and on, they said nothing.
Yeah, you're talking about January 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. What about January 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, the year before, or
right.
the year before?
Right.
It's a new behavior from the president, the former president. He's shown himself to be the person that we expected. That's why going into that hearing, I was prepared to see and hear anything. Nothing that I thought that I would hear was going to surprise me that day, because I didn't really have any expectations. I know what happened. I was there. My coworkers were there. We heard what these people were saying, and just reliving it again. It makes you angry, but I wasn't really surprised about anything that came out of there. These people told us that on January 6th, while we were fighting these people, we're not leaving. Donald Trump told us to come here. Donald Trump sent us. So, I mean, it is refreshing for the whole country to be able to see what we knew that day. But I'm conflicted, though, honestly, with people that are coming forward and to have. I mean, on one hand, I do appreciate them doing that. I mean, great, you're doing what you're supposed to do. But on the other hand, I'm like you just said, you couldn't do anything before. Like, we couldn't stop this. There was nothing that could be done. So.
And for me, I saw something today that I got to speak to. I thought this was quite interesting. Joe Scarborough was just shocked and beside himself on Morning Joe. Call this Trump a heinous individual, and I actually tweeted, "Yeah, Joe, we tried to tell you." I said, when y'all were calling me in 2015 to be on your show, I was saying the same thing. And if y'all had not stopped calling in January 2016, we'd told you the same thing. What drives me crazy are the people who gave him comfort. The people who, oh, that's just Trump being Trump. The people who advised him, who counseled him. In 2020, the people, after all he did for 4 years, he should get 4 more years. The Chris Christies of the world, Jack Nicklaus, Ari Fleischer, all of these people. But it's amazing how they're silent right now. They're not live tweeting this hearing. They're not saying, oh my God, this is a damn shame. So all of these people, I mean, we saw that evilness before January 6, 2021.
You know what? They did too. Just think about it. Think back to in the early of Trump's presidency, where there was an anonymous op-ed that came out. I believe it was in the New York Times. And there was a group of defectors or whatever that agreed to stay to try to keep him in line and keeping him in check. Just think about that. They knew way back then. So they knew way before January 6th happened. They knew that what kind of person he was. So yeah, you were telling people, a lot of people were warning about him, and they, like you just said, that's Trump being Trump. And look what Trump being Trump got us, and look where we are now. So for your fellow officers, you're still there in the Capitol protecting people who are trashing this committee. People you got the House Republicans tweeting last night that one of the witnesses, she's a liar. Then they had to delete those tweets because she still works for them. And you got folks who are saying, oh, this is hearsay. You know what? We should be able to cross-examine, doubting all of this, and y'all still are protecting them. Yeah, when all this started and, it started to get partisan, and, in my testimony last year, I said that you cannot take politics out of the January 6th investigation, because the reason January 6th happened is because of politics. So you can't take politics out of it. So I had to struggle and find out something bigger, like how can I keep doing this? So I realized, and I focus on the mission of my job, and I dig into that patriotism that, a lot of people, especially a lot of Black people they have this patriotism about their country, and they love it. And I've said before, sometimes you feel like you love this country, even when it doesn't love you back. And I think Magic Johnson said that. But I believe that that resonated with me. So you got to realize that, that seat of a member of Congress who I may disagree with, who may downplay what happened, that's fine. They're entitled to their opinion. But that seat that seat that member holds, it represents more people than that one individual. That seat is going to continue to exist when that member is voted out or retires, or it existed before that member. So you got to look at the bigger picture, that you're out here defending democracy for America and not just one individual. You got to put it into perspective and be able to do your job, regardless of who is doing, whoever has an opinion in whatever seat of Congress that they're representing.
When you look at the likes of Fox News refusing to even air the hearings in prime time, when you think about I saw a story today. Only 8 out of 50 Republicans say they've watched any parts of the hearing. I saw a video last night where one of the individuals who has been out here, with you testifying, speaking on these issues, is Officer Michael Fanon. And last night, I mean, here's a man who suffered greatly, suffered a heart attack as a result of all of this. Luckily, is still here. This happens last night as he is trying to leave the U.S. Capitol.
Why were you there January 6th? You were not even on duty. Why were you there January 6th, Michael Fanon? You were not even on duty. Why do you work for CNN now? Are you a real police officer?
Leave me alone, sir.
Are you disappointed that you're going to make men face years in jail because of your lies?
Why do you have so many fucking kidding me? An assault. Are you fucking kidding me?
I mean, these folks literally do not care, but they claim to love the blue. Blue Lives Matter.
A friend of mine sent me something today, and it said, avoid people who incite things and then play the victim role. And that's exactly what you see there. Mike, he self-proclaimed was a Donald Trump supporter. He voted for Donald Trump. But he came out there and he's still subjected to what you just saw on that and then some. That back the blue stuff, that's just assault rhetoric, and just it doesn't mean anything because it just sounds good. You know, they find these slogans that just sound good that people, and it's grifting. You know, it's not just grifting for money, it's grifting for support, for just anything that you can latch on that make people follow you. It's kind of like almost cult-like. These individuals, they just want something to just latch on to, no matter how stupid or asinine it sounds. It's so frustrating, but that's why you take it with a grain of salt. Like, man, okay, whatever, man. I'm not paying attention to that.
The hearings are going to continue. Members of Congress have said that Congresswoman Liz Cheney said the dam is breaking. More subpoenas are being issued. More people are ready to testify. I'm glad to see more people are all of a sudden, getting the courage, because the reality is many of these people, they would have stayed silent. They would have stayed silent. We would have not have known. Now you hear, Secret Service deleting text messages, even though they were told to preserve messages. That has to actually send a shudder through your body as a Capitol police officer. Y'all work with Secret Service a whole lot. And I can only imagine standing there and going, well, who the hell is with me? Well, who the hell is with America? And who the hell is with the people who were the coup? They're literally, you don't know who's in your midst.
That's why it's very important for the committee, or not even committee of Congress, because I believe there's a Freedom of Records Preservation Act. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, there's a federal law that states that any federal, like, for instance, if I sent an email to anyone at the White House, okay, they cannot delete that email. It is to be preserved.
Yeah. So that's why it's interesting. So I think that Congress, then, not just the committee, needs to get to the bottom of, like whether this was intentional, deliberate, nefarious. Sure, on the surface, it's like, there's no way that could have happened. I'm not familiar with that. That's outside of my realm of responsibilities. But it doesn't sound right, and I think it's important for them to clear it up and be transparent about what happened. Because at the end of this, what are we doing? Everybody wants to make sure that nothing like this happens again, and we need to find out exactly what happened and all who was involved. When these hearings first started, I was asked the question, what are you hoping to find out from this hearing? And I don't even know, because look how much in these hearings, it's been 8 of them. How much stuff that we're learning that we didn't even think to ask? Like, did we even know that we don't even know what we don't know?
Right.
So we go into September, like, what more could you possibly give us? Like, what? The dam is just breaking. There's more. So it's surprising, but buckle in. Here we go.
Earlier you said that you can't take the politics out of it. But one of the things that is also very real is that there's an election in November. And the very people who have trashed these hearings, people have trashed you. They've trashed other officers. There were people who refused to even vote to thank Capitol Police officers for their patriotism, for keeping them safe. These folks could be in control of the House. They win in November, they win the majority, then they are in charge of committees, they're in control of the House, they're in power. They could very well shut down any effort to keep learning the truth. How scary is that? That the possibility exists if this committee does not get its work done before November, that we may not have the full story of all that happened leading up to January 6, 2021 and after.
So selfishly, that for me specifically, that is scary because, that's why people know who I am, because I've been advocating for the truth to come out from day one. And I feel like anybody should want to know the truth, no matter if you're Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. I guess the people that don't want to know the truth are the people that possibly are complicit, or or it makes them look bad. So I think that's the reasons why people wouldn't want to know the truth. But like I said, you cannot take politics out of it. What is scary, though, January 6th, when is the next January 6th? Can that happen again? And as of now, there's been nothing done to ensure me or make me feel secure, or probably all of America, that cannot happen again. We just saw an attack up in New York. It was a Republican governor candidate that was attacked on stage, and these violent threats, these violent acts, they just keep happening against political people. And Adam Kinzinger yesterday said that there's this whatever, what's the word he used? I can't remember the exact word he used, but it's still out there. These people, it's almost like you said, it's cult-like, and these people just still they don't believe, they don't listen, they feel emboldened, they listen to lies, and it's getting worse and it's getting dangerous out here. So I really believe it's important for any member of Congress, any senator, any American to want to know the truth, get to the bottom of it, and put a stop to this violence, this rhetoric, this polarizing society that we live in. We can't continue this way. Where does it end? Look at like January 6th. Like, look how close we were. Like, what if we're not so lucky next time?
Yep. Questions from my panel. I'll start with you, Kelly.
Hi, friend. Good to see you. And we've talked about this several times, specifically when it comes to how you have to conduct yourself within your own ranks, right? Because it's not just outside people who are biased against what you're doing. My understanding is that you still have people within law enforcement, both in your division and others nationwide, who do not agree with what you're doing. So my question to you is, how do you reconcile the need and the duty to tell the truth versus the perceived duty, rather, as a cop, to be objective or apolitical, which effectively is to be silent?
It's a simple answer for that. What's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong. What's right should be spoken on, and what's wrong should be spoken against. It's just as simple as that. Everybody has a moral compass, and they know what's right and they know what's wrong. I try my best to be very matter of fact when it comes to these interviews, to speaking out, to doing my job. I'm just very matter of fact. I try to keep opinions out of it. So, if I'm wrong or disagree with something, that's all that is. But when it comes to actual matter of fact, did this happen? Yes or no? Why did it happen? This is why it happened. And that's it. But it's very important to continue keep speaking out on the truth. Like, I won't be silent about that because I believe in doing what's right.
Michael.
Hello, Officer Harry Dunn. Hey, it's a pleasure to talk to you, brother. You are a real American hero, and I appreciate everything that you do. My question is, do you encourage African Americans to become Capitol Hill police officers? I know the January 6th insurrection, and hearing from some African American Capitol Hill police officers and previous ones, they talk about the racism that they have experienced as Capitol Hill police officers. So do you encourage more African Americans to become Capitol Hill police officers? And maybe if you can share with us one or two reasons why you became a Capitol Hill police officer as well. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for your kind words. No, so I absolutely believe, not necessarily just Capitol Police, I encourage members of any community to be involved in their communities. One of the reasons I believe that policing comes under such scrutiny, and a lot of times there are officers in communities that don't understand how communities work, is because police communities, the police don't look like the communities that they police.
Right.
Their representation. I mean, if you have a Asian community, you shouldn't be, a 80% Asian community should not be 90% Black police officers there. And, in any demographic that you want to choose or plug into that communities need to look like and understand. Police communities need to look like the communities that they police. So I think it definitely is important. And I would encourage anybody in any community to join, not just policing. It could be any kind of type of public service, because, like I said, this world that we're living in, it's our job to take care of it and to do it. Like, people aren't going to do stuff for us. So whether that is speaking out, volunteering, helping, like, we're here to give back. And I don't think a lot of people are doing that, and they're depending on one or two people to be a voice, like, for thousands and thousands, and it's taxing. And I've learned that just being one of the officers who's speaking out. Like, people jokingly call me a spokesperson. No, I'm not. I'm just speaking my truth. But
Right.
About what's important to me. And there's so many. That's the thing. Like, there's so many. Everybody's familiar with my story, but there were hundreds of officers on duty that day that have a story to tell. And I've been to get them to speak out and tell your story. This is what you coming out and talk. And for whatever reason, it's their choice, but a lot of people are not doing it. I became a police officer. Like, I use this, I kind of like have a type A personality with a type B heart. Like, I'm very passionate, I'm caring, but I also believe I have this, I'm 6'7", I have a stature, I command, like to think I command a little bit of at least attention when I come around, and I know how to talk to people, and I want to see people succeed. I truly believe in service and public service and helping people, and I think that's what policing is about.
Thank you.
Matt?
Officer Dunn, I want to echo Michael's sentiments. I appreciate your service and your forthrightness in talking about not only what you experienced, but making sure the truth comes to light. And I have kind of a difficult question for you, but I'm interested nonetheless. How do you go to work every day and continue to protect people that not only disagree with you, as you alluded to earlier, but who have made political theater out of trying to deny what we saw happen in real time? I mean, how have you grappled with the fact that there are people you're continuing to protect who are not being honest about the fact that you had to protect them on January 6th from a riotous mob? How have you dealt with that?
Like I said, I realized that sometimes that things are bigger than you. It's not just about me. I also realized that, people use this term a lot, and I think it's interpreted wrong a lot. People need a seat at the table. Like, so what's the alternative to me not being there, to me leaving? I'm not going to let anybody's opinion or their behavior force me out of doing something that I'm good at, something that I like doing. I'm not going to allow anybody to do that. I'm going to continue to do my job the way I believe that is the right way to do, because that's what's important. I'm going to continue speaking out against my truth. What if, just counter your point. What if somebody says, you know what, how can I keep working around an individual like him who keeps speaking out against what I'm speaking out against? I mean, why not look at it that way? I'm going to continue speaking my truth, what I believe is right. And I think it's easy. I think it's easy to, it was difficult to interpret, to find another narrative, frame it how I could continue to do it. That was difficult to find out how to frame. But once I did, I'm like, you know what, this isn't hard, because doing the right thing shouldn't be difficult, and it is for a lot of people, and I can't live like that. So.
Well, Harry Dunn, we appreciate your service. We appreciate you being forthright, not backing down, not running away. And also, last week when they had the hearing, one of those former Oath Keepers, I believe, the folks reported that he came up to you and apologized, and that you accepted it, and you tweeted, no, he apologized. He said it was not accepted.
That's correct. Like I said, it was acknowledged. I'm not against forgiveness at all. And maybe the gentleman, he was truly remorseful. That's fine. But right now, I'm not focused on forgiveness. One thing I continue to say is I can't be focused on forgiveness when I'm still seeking justice. There's so many people out there that still need to be brought to justice. And then we can start to heal once justice has been served. So
I agree with that 100%. Officer Dunn, we appreciate you joining us on Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Thanks, man. Glad we got to catch up.
Indeed. Thanks a bunch.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?